going in before we get into our quick bits. We got a little bit of a rumor town going on right now. I had to make sure that I found at least like a reputable source that had also mentioned this, because last time it was just like when we were talking about the Metroid thing, it was like there's way too many websites I have never gone to, but a lot of YouTubers also talking about that Metroid thing. So this one, at least IGN and a couple other areas posted something about reportedly having Nintendo reportedly developing a Legend of Zelda mobile game. So we'll read something real quick, but this comes via Wall Street Journal, and they claim that The Legend of Zelda will follow the footsteps of Animal Crossing, Super Mario, and Fire Emblem as the next big name Nintendo franchise heading to your mobile device. Although not much information was offered, the Wall Street, the TWS said, I don't know what TWS is, said the Zelda game would follow the Animal Crossing app that is reportedly being released in the latter half of 2017 after several delays. The Legend of Zelda on mobile will be developed with DNA, which, of course, you guys know DNA is the developer that is partnered with Nintendo to create all these mobile games. So we've seen some success with Mario, Super Mario Run. I almost said Pokemon Go. That was Pokemon Company. Fire Emblem, even though Intelligent Systems was heavily involved with that, and also Miitomo as well. That was there for a hot minute. Rest in peace, Miitomo. And now we're just missing Animal Crossing and apparently Legend of Zelda, possibly. So Nintendo originally promised it would launch 5 mobile games by March 2017. However, only 3 came to fruition before that date: Miitomo, Super Mario Run, Fire Emblem Heroes. Shigeru Miyamoto said that while the plan was to release 5 games all along, market conditions and the development process for each title has removed one unknown game, in all likelihood this Zelda title, from the release window. Mysteriously, the report mentioned Sonic Master adding bits, is what they mentioned. Sonic Master out of nowhere with the pew pew pews. Dude, thank you for the bits, man. Much appreciated, dude. Oh my gosh, feeling the love right now. Feeling the love. Mysteriously, the report also mentioned that Pokemon Company was planning a new Pokemon card game app with no further detail, and that's from Lucy O'Brien from IGN Sydney office. So my question is, if they are planning on coming out with a Legend of Zelda game on the mobile, is it too soon? Or is it the right time? We're hot off the heels of Breath of the Wild 2 months ago. There's still people definitely playing that game. I mean, the game sold more copies than the Nintendo Switch console itself, due to the collector's edition, the Master Sword edition, and all that stuff, and then the regular game and then the digital versions. Just so many different ways this game has been purchased by the same people multiple times. So is it too early? I'm on the fence, to be honest with you. I mean, you can create a traditional top-down Legend of Zelda game on the mobile. You see it all the time with the games. There's Xenonia is like one of them. That's top-down action adventure RPG-ish type of game as well. That's a big one on the mobile, or used to be a big one. That might have been a few years ago at this point, but I remember those having sequels upon sequels on the iOS store. Or would it be something sort of like a companion app to maybe Breath of the Wild at some point? Or would they just try something wildly different altogether? Hopefully not a Link's Crossbow training, but but to say the least, it has piqued my interest. I wouldn't have thought they would attempt a Legend of Zelda on mobile. It's so tricky for that game because Zelda games are usually pretty long, so to create a short format version of that game would be curious. I would like to know your guys' thoughts on what key factors to a Legend of Zelda game do you think are most important to converting it to a successful mobile game, whether it's on iOS or Android. It'll be on both eventually. But yeah, that's my question to you guys. What are some key gameplay factors, gameplay mechanics in the Legend of Zelda series? It could be anything from Breath of the Wild to the very beginning of the game, beginning of the series on the NES. That would help make this game be just as successful as Breath of the Wild or any of the other top-down versions of that game that were on handheld or SNES or NES. There you go. Question of the week. I'd like to see you guys put some of your thoughts in the comments down below, and next Friday, if I see some answers, I'll read them out here on the Afterwork show next Friday. I see it like the Game Boy. Zero says, Zero, by the way, what's up, dude? I see it like the Game Boy game, but with RNG dungeons. Ooh, so like a just constant dungeon crawling, solving different puzzles every time, but if you die, it changes up the patterns. I like that. You got a little bit of Binding of Isaac going on in there. I can dig that. I hope The Legend of Zelda doesn't take too much storage space. It's ridiculous. I mean, judging by the constant updates of Fire Emblem Heroes, I think Super Mario Run has that had any crazy wacky updates to that game. But Fire Emblem Heroes in general takes up so much space every time with these updates happening all the time. It's crazy. Now I don't know if it like goes and deletes the previous update and then adds more memory to and then replaces it with the files that you're downloading then to get rid of, like, you know, the gauntlets and the events that are going on for that week or something. But every time I go in, I feel like I keep seeing like 400 500 megabyte downloads. Like, geez, what are you doing to me? Ocarina of Time would be good, or Skyward Sword, but that would make the phones explode. Yeah, definitely. I'd imagine. I know, I remember seeing N64 emulators on the phones a few years ago, but they ran really, really slow. I think with the technology now, I think we could probably get to a good frame rate for something of the N64 quality. But the button functionality is where it then comes into, is how many buttons are we gonna be working with on the touch screen of that small of a size? Do we want to limit that down to, you know, just like swiping and tapping to attack and jump and walk around? There's a lot of interesting factors that you start to think of as you're trying to think of, like, well, what would make the perfect mobile Zelda game? It's interesting. It's something good to think about. I'm definitely curious about this one.